Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to another video. Glad you could join me. Today, I want to talk about this upcoming Venus-Neptune conjunction in Pisces. Why I think this one is particularly unique is that it's going to be the last Venus-Neptune conjunction we're going to have sans Saturn for the next couple of years. But before I get onto that, I also realized that this channel has now reached 2,000 subscribers. So I've had a lot of new people jump on board recently. Welcome. Here you'll probably find a little bit more real talk astrology than what may otherwise be available. So if you're here, I really appreciate that. And you'll know that you're one of my people. So yeah, more of this end of the era talk. I mean, so much about February has, sorry, I've got cat hair everywhere. One of the main features of February has really been so much about crossing a threshold. Obviously, we've got the really big transits coming up next month, aka Saturn in Pisces, Pluto in Aquarius, and then, of course, Mars finally leaving Gemini. But obviously, before we get to that point, there's some finishing up, wrapping up that happens before then. And so this is really a lot of what February is about. So I'm not really going to talk about this Valentine's Day stuff with Venus-Neptune, though I have to admit it is very much a part of this week, Valentine's Day falling on the 14th and Venus making her final conjunction in Pisces with Neptune, just the two of them, is probably quite significant. So for you romantics out there, that's going to be kind of nice. But I do want to offer you perhaps an idea or some thoughts that potentially are a little bit more than just about that. That said, though, there is a certain magic or a sweetness that can be extracted out of this cosmic nectar, kindness, compassion. And I also really think about the idea of, giving peace a chance. And this could be a factor in obviously global situations, and it also could take place in a more personal matter within your own life as well. So just for the details and the data here, we obviously have 2023, we've got Venus and Neptune conjoining at 24 Pisces. Now, next year in 2024, we're going to have Venus conjoined Neptune, but Saturn will be there as well. So that's obviously going to be a buzzkill for Venus and Neptune. In 2025, there's a little bit more cosmic complication because then we have Venus will retrograde in Aries, but a part of that retrogradation sees Venus reverse back into Pisces. And as she does, she will hit up Saturn. By then, Neptune will be in Aries. So that 2025 is probably the most crispy as far as Venus is concerned. Then 2026, she will have her annual Venus tour in Pisces, and she'll be relatively unencumbered now, or then I should say. But now, a way to think about this, knowing what's moving forward, knowing what's coming with Venus, having to wrangle with Saturn in the next couple of years, what would life look like, aka your Venus house, if you fully went for something and knew you couldn't fail? I love that idea as a concept, because often when we try things, whether it is that romantic notion or whether it's a business idea or a holiday or putting money here or there, we'll often think about what can go wrong more than what we would think about what could go right. So think about your Pisces house as Venus comes up to Neptune and opens those floodgates of exalted possibilities, and think about, okay, what could that be if nothing could go wrong? If I could just tap into mystery and magic and the unknown and lean into that like some kind of almost cosmic intoxication of possibility. Now, I think I've spoken about this on my channel maybe before, I can't remember, but alas, the idea of exaltation. I often think about the idea of exaltation as a planetary impediment. And when people hear that, they go, "What? I've got an exalted planet. It's so awesome," or what have you. And when I say impediment, I don't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, because obviously it's a good thing. But there is a certain difficulty, in a sense, to what exaltation brings. So I'll give you an example, obviously, with Venus. When she's in her domiciles of either Taurus or Libra, Taurus is the have and to hold Venus. It is the Venus that, wants the money in the bank, the food in the fridge, and the abundant garden, and those physicalities of the treats and trinkets that Venus really enjoys, right? Then in Libra, it's more about the have and the hold of the social contracts, the relationships, and also those relationships that last a long time. Saturn is exalted in Libra after all. But when we get Venus in Pisces, it's different. It is more about things that don't last, but are to be experienced, to be tasted, to be savored, and to be remembered. It reminds me of something my son says a lot. He's only 8, and we had a really good time on Saturday night. We caught up with friends. It was pool parties, other boys, playing boys' games, and just, when you're 8 and there's no rules, you stay up as late as you want, eat all the sugar. And we're driving home, and he's like, "Mom, why do the good times go so fast, but school goes so slowly?" And this is, Venus conjoined Neptune in Pisces. It's just that the memory or the experience or the suggestion or the evoking of something that is intangible. And that's not really what Venus is about. She wants the stuff and she wants the people. It does go against her nature a little bit to have fleeting experiences, to have moments that you just get to touch on the lips, but not necessarily fully consume. It's just the waft or the evocation of something, or the suggestion. And that's obviously goes a little contra to Venus's natural significations, but it's what makes life meaningful and magical and real. So it brings in those Jupiter themes there, something that we strive for, something that moves us, something that we can't always explain, but it gives us meaning and purpose. So, Venus in Jupiter's sign, in her exaltation, brings a more expansive and optimistic and an experiential version of Venus. And of course, the Neptune piece just even enhances that a little bit further, because there is that diffusion of discernment, or the questions of what could go wrong. Once you've had that second glass of wine, nothing can go wrong, right? And so that's a little bit like the energy here. So this week is a little bit of that invitation to put on those cosmic beer goggles and don't see what could go wrong in a certain situation. And for some, it might be, Valentine's Day stuff, or, a romantic situation. But for the rest of us, it's obviously maybe not going to be the 5th house, of course, unless you've got Scorpio rising. It might be making a money move, or joining a new group or community, or launching a new product or a service or something like that in your business. So this is about the idea of, drink the wine, eat those beautiful things, and, enjoy the music. So obviously we do have that Sun-Saturn conjunction happening this week, and that's going to be the sober reality of the hangover or the work to be done. But it's also, that get to work, every hard work that we do, or every mountain that we seek to climb, does start with a dream or a vision or a possibility. And oftentimes, once that mood has passed, that we've decided, yeah, we're going to do this thing, and then the sobering reality comes, oh, it's going to take a bit of effort, then that's when it sometimes doesn't feel so good. But we do have an invitation, I think, this week to imagine the possibility of something. And then once Saturn arrives in Pisces, get to work on it and make it happen. But holding on to that quality, that feeling, if at all possible. I mean, it is Pisces we're talking about. To hold on to something real and tangible, that feeling, that mood, that experience, or that memory that will make the hard work of Saturn in Pisces coming up meaningful or worthwhile. So there is something that needs to be savored or captured, or, some essence that needs to be bottled this week. So Venus in Pisces with Neptune can really help you fall in love with the Pisces part of your house, or in general, just fall in love with your own life again. I mean, really, we are just bombarded with various distractions globally. We have obviously conflict in certain parts of the globe, chemical explosions in the US that just media blackout, things happening that that gets hidden from us, that kind of smoke screen. We've got the most unbelievably incompetent, embarrassing leadership that certainly doesn't inspire or evoke any sense of passion or purpose. So it can be the lesser side of Venus in Pisces, or that Neptunian quality, where there can be discombobulation or a sense of hopelessness or lack of energy behind it. It's not, it's a totally like Netflix and wine type of energy, Venus, Neptune, and Pisces. It's not, roll back the sleeves and get to work. But sometimes we do need that checking out of reality somewhat, so we can remember what reality is. It's like that holiday. You have a weekend away and you come back revived or refreshed, or you go overseas and have a really meaningful experience and you come back with new perspectives. And so Venus and Neptune this week can help us tap into that. And of course, back to some of the global stuff, anyone that appears to have a voice of reason or sensibility, or goes against this sort of mass manipulation and gaslighting, just gets shut down, shut out, and is cancelled. So anything that is different is just sort of not allowed to speak, if you get my gist. So, funnily enough, it's usually of those types that express this ultimate Piscean ideal, while in its essence is quite magical and pure, but somehow they end up being the very people who are the least inclusive at the end of the day. But alas, I do think this transit can really help us remember that there is a smoke screen involved of confusion, of manipulation, and of intoxication, whether it's wholly weird or UFO distractions, real or what have you. It's not necessarily about that, although it could be about that for some people. And it's definitely a part of the cosmic energy, but personalizing it and making it, more about yourself and how you can practically or tangibly work with this not impractical and intangible energy is falling in love with your own life. Maybe it is about outpouring your energy into something that can offer you nothing back in return. Whether it is a child or an animal, or, maybe even a garden, whatever it might be, like, what can you give with no expectation of anything back? And what can make you feel good and inspired and that sense of meaning and purpose? So, falling in love with your own life, with your own magic, with a little corner of your own globe, if you like, it can help you feel so purposeful that the psyops don't matter. You know what I mean? The distractions and the powers that be don't matter, because you are so invested into something that's really meaningful and true in your own world. So it's just another little Cass rant about how you can use this energy in a way that might be different to some of the other stuff that you hear online, that can also set you up for success with Saturn in Pisces. A month from now, less than now, Saturn will be in Pisces. So rather than seeing it as hard and heavy, limiting and restricting, although it will certainly be that too, what can this Venus-Neptune, what can evoke something within you that's worth doing the work for, what's worth committing to, what's worth the hardship to get to the other side of that. So rather than it being a massive buzzkill, Saturn in Pisces, and then of course this Venus-Neptune conjunction in the lead up to that, can really help reinfuse something magical moving forward. So there we go. So much to talk about, and I could talk about this aspect for a while, though that will do for now. So if you do have a planet or a point around 24 of Pisces, which I do, do please leave me a comment below. How maybe these ideas, how might that inspire you to get to work towards something more meaningful or purposeful? How is it playing out for you? Are you feeling the magic or the inspiration? Or are you just tired, fatigued, and rather over it? I know I've definitely had a combination of the two. If you're still with me and you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, do feel free to do that. That will be really good. I just certainly appreciate that. And if you do want to find out more about what I have to offer in terms of my Golden Circle astrology membership, readings, classes and the like, I'll pop links in the description for you below. So I do hope you have a lovely Venus-Neptune, whether it's drinking a bit of wine and having some music, whatever it is that works for you. Find a way to tap into a little bit of magic this week. So until next time, enjoy it, and I'll see you all again soon.